we have to create the right vibe, you know, the energy, and everybody at the organization has to feel so privileged to be here. It's no other way.
Thanks for listening to the Purely Arsenal podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at PurelyArsenalFP for all the latest Arsenal podcasts.
Welcome to another edition of a Purely Arsenal sit-down podcast. We're here to review the 2-2 draw at Sunderland. We asked for 2 wins this week. We didn't quite get it. We're a few minutes away. A little bit of a gut punch. I think we're all still recovering from it, but I'm here with Neil Shah. How you doing, Neil?
Yeah, could be better, but we'll chat about it and see where we all are with the outcome of that 2 drop points, I feel. So, but thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's definitely 2 drop points. James Johnstone with me to discuss it as well.
Yeah, hiya. Yeah, no, it's good to be here with you guys, but not the best of results, but there we go.
No, it was very frustrating one. Credit to you, James, for doing a pod straight after it. Or anyone that spoke within about 4 hours after it should be getting paid significantly for it if you're an Arsenal fan. Because for me, other than talking to you lads on a text thread, it was mostly just me trying to find a way of calming myself down. I was so annoyed for so many reasons that we'll get into, but lineup itself, don't think there was anything to really say on it other than attackers, where are you? And if you're not in the treatment room 24 hours a day, you need to have a long look at yourself, okay? All of you, Mikel Arteta, you need to look at everything. Training methods, again, you need to look at the blades of grass, how many are there, how hard is the surface, what boots are they wearing, everything. You've got to look at everything 10 times over. Your rehab team, I want you to bring in an extra 12 of those like you do your set piece coaches. Everyone needs to be looking at it from every angle. For everyone else in the treatment room, I tell you, I don't know what the time frames have been given, but it feels like a long time. We're way overdue here for a few of you to come back, okay? I've seen you all on your Instagram at your concerts and stuff like that. You're ready. It's time to come back now, okay? I'm on my last legs with injury, and coming from someone that deals with injuries on a daily basis, I am so frustrated with the amount of injuries that Arsenal Football Club get, especially when it's all congregated in one position of the pitch every single season. It is just infuriating, especially when you know you've done all you can to improve the depth of an area, and you've done basically all you can to allow these players to rotate as much as they possibly can, and this, that and the other, and it's still not working. And it's just, oh my gosh. Let's move on beyond that, but let's get into the game. We didn't start particularly well, though I don't think, Neil, it was a weird first half because it was a very stop-start first half. They'd been told, obviously, to be very physical. I think Granit Xhaka was the leader of that, to be honest, but a couple of their centre-backs definitely had some value in there. Dan Ballard, who had, by his perspective, a very, very good game with a goal and assist, ex-Arsenal as well. Fair play to him. But they went a bit like Prague to go very physical on us, but they did it a bit more intelligently. They obviously had one of their closest neighbours as the ref, which always helps. They were able to do a couple of other things, like I've noticed how anyone around Newcastle, they're able to put the fans as high up as possible, which is a nice health and safety thing allowed just around Tyneside. If I'm not mistaken, when Arsenal cheered there, they were looking up to the sky, which means we were up in the sky again. Health and safety. Anyone from down south, they need to be put as far up as they can so they fall the furthest. But anyone in London, we put them really close down to the ground. We sort of walk up and down offering them kettle corn and stuff like that. But you send anyone from the south up, you chuck them as far into the flipping sky as possible. See if you can get them up there, boys. Okay? Another little frustration. We can't use a towel at Newcastle. There's media uproar if Calafiori grabs a towel. But you do what you like with the advertising. Have the advertising boardings moving while we're whatever you like. Anyway, Neil, first half, what's your thoughts? I thought it was a poor-ish first half, but very stop-start, very physical from them. Ref didn't contain it very well, but it's something we've got to deal with. We didn't deal with it very well.
I can't really add much to that, chat. Well done. The advertising board thing annoyed me because I thought that was very clever tactics on their part. Didn't give the likes of Rice enough I suppose running up space to get a good long throw into the danger areas. But yeah, I agree. I think it was very unlike what we've been of late. I'm sorry, I'm only going on what I remember from the live game. When I've really watched the match of the day, they literally showed nothing of the first half apart from a couple of bad moments for us. But the physicality was there to be seen. We had the guy that was our ex-player, Elbow Marino. I wasn't quite sure if it was a pen or not. I was kind of deliberating with myself. Is that a natural thing to do when you're jumping up? But to me, there was a little bit of an inkling that did it need to be so aggressive, the movement of his elbow, and it could well have been given as a penalty, couldn't it? Because I think it was in the box, wasn't it? So, and it took Marino out. I wasn't sure. I don't think we chatted about it too much on the WhatsApp group. So I just thought from there that maybe you guys didn't quite see it that way, but I could be wrong. But there was that aspect of the physicality, and then there was another one where it was Xhaka, wasn't it? Was it Zubimendi? Not Zubimendi. Sorry, no. Was it Zubimendi or Zubimendi? No, that followed.
There was one on Marino.
Getting and then Zubimendi got a yellow for what I thought was a perfectly good,
which is where the goal came from.
And then that followed with the goal, and I thought, oh my goodness me, that was nothing. I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. Zubimendi, I thought, won the ball fair and square, and then he was yellow carded, and I just thought, hang on a minute, but they were very, very physical, like you said. And that it kind of literally just stopped us in our tracks. We couldn't get any rhythm going at all, and they were clever with it. That was definitely their game plan, but I do think that had some help as well from the referee. I didn't think he could have been a bit more protective of us, but obviously he chose not to be. Very much like, and you're talking about the away fans, I mean, that's just a replica of what it's like when we go to Newcastle, isn't it? It's a complete replica of that, of how they treat the away fans. So that there was that aspect, but I just felt very kind of, how can I say, driven, detached from the game. That's the best way to describe it, because we're so used to not seeing that at the moment from Arsenal, and we were so used to kind of seeing this kind of very dominant and in control. It was only last pod, wasn't I saying, Jack, that if we do go ahead, I don't feel scared anymore. I don't feel concerned that that the opposition are going to get a goal. And yesterday, I just thought, I'm watching a team that looks so far removed from itself, but also I kind of maybe put that down to a little bit of a European hangover. Sunderland don't play in Europe, and then I thought, it is a difficult venue to go to. It's not the easiest. I've got a feeling other good teams are going to go there and drop points, and I just thought, okay, we're in for a very, very tough game. But the second half shows that we can kind of manipulate it to our advantage. So what was going wrong in the first half? I just felt like we just weren't in the races yesterday. But I'll let James speak a bit more about it, because I didn't get to see much of it in the highlights. But that's how I saw it: stop start, no rhythm, and it just kind of we were too unbalanced and out of shape, I thought, in the first half.
Sorry, I forgot. It completely blanked on you telling me a little bit about the first half and you struggling to see some of the details of it, and then gave you the question on it. Completely my fault, James. But let's talk about the goal. I mean, we didn't start great. They definitely. I mean, you can definitely talk about the sort of Marino head injury as well. Which, to be honest, I look at that and I think in the Premier League they're never giving it. Even though it's a terrible elbow anywhere on the pitch, that's a foul. The problem is in the Premier League that I think if that was midweek, they'd probably give it. Do you know what I mean? And I actually, to a large degree, not always with the handball stuff, where which was obviously what occurred in midweek. I don't always agree with what happens in Europe, but they have a sort of lower bar physically for what a penalty would be. But here, the fact that he headed the ball away, I think he could have taken his head off and they wouldn't have given it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of a silly rule, but you just see that and go, that Premier League refs never giving that, and that shouldn't be the case really, because I think he's laid one on Marino, to be honest. I think that's what he's done. So feel free to talk about that, but then talk about the the goal as well, and maybe talk about what Neil mentioned as well with the fouls that led up to it, because there was multiple, really.
Yeah, so going on to what you said about Mourinho there, I agree with you. If that's anywhere else on the pitch, we're probably getting the foul there and you're getting a yellow card. Deliberate, not deliberate. For me, it's one of those where, do I think he's gone, oh, I'm going to absolutely clatter him and try and purposely hurt him? Possibly not, but it's, you know how, and we always used to say it and it used to wind you up, and, you know, there's other players that have done it. You know how when a player would leave a leg out and Vardy or Kane or Son, or, you know, even you've seen it with Doman for us. He'll wrap his own leg around them and you'll go, oh, you know, you bastard. But it's like, it's clever because it's what I'm like, when you're like that, you know, oh, what you can give the whole, well, I'm jumping for the ball. What do you mean? I'm like, he knows I can have a jump and I can have a, you know, and Dennis Bergkamp used to be one of the best at giving a, you know, I remember that one away at West Ham when he did get sent off, but he was a brilliant at the very clever jumpiness, you know, like sly elbow. And I think Ballard's done that here. But what annoyed me and what upset me was after that happened, it definitely shook Moreno a bit, and he didn't really, we know how good he is in the air, but he didn't really go for anything in the air after that, after he took that one, because he probably thought, like, I'm not having that again. I'm not having it. You know, I was quite shocked because to me, you know, it was right behind the ear. And I was just like, well, he don't look great here. He doesn't look to me when he was getting up and everything. I thought, oh, you know, what's going on? But fair play to him that he carried on through the game and he ended up getting an assist and everything as well. So fair play to him. But yeah, your one on the goal, I agree with the sentiments that Neil said there. It's not a free kick. Zubimendi wins the ball. But then when that happens, I'm like, well, lad, you can't stop playing. You know, just because you disagree with the decision that's been made, you can't all just, you know, just stop, feel sorry for yourself and stop. And yeah, Declan Rice, and he's along with Timberjack, he's arguably been our player of the season for me this year, Rice. He's been fantastic. You know, you guys said it when after we beat Burnley, that second half, the way that he was defensively and offensively was superb. But first of all, first contact, you can't let that ball bounce in the box like that. You can't. You cannot allow it to bounce like that. And then you know, the closing down. Okay, Gabriel on the slide there is seconds away from blocking it or tackling the guy. So it's really, really unfortunate. But yeah, you just can't. You can't let that bounce and then let him get through there and hit that shot like that. It's you know, for a team that we're talking about potentially breaking a record of nearly 20 years of a Chelsea side. You know, we didn't look like this best defense. You know, still the best defense in Europe. However, we didn't look like it on both these goals today, but especially this first one. It's just simple application. You know, you can't let that ball bounce like that in your own box. You can't. You just can't. And yeah, it was a real kicker because we really, really didn't do anything in that first half, or what we did do attacking wise wasn't enough. I think the main one that I can remember, especially in the first half, was the one where Saliba was, for God knows whatever reason why he was in the box and he was the one trying to finish it. But yeah, you know, it was a typical, as much as we say, oh, we've got the best centre-backs in both boxes, it was a typical centre-back shot because he really had no right to be in there. And you saw what happened when he tried to do it. He just completely, you know, skied the ball. So yeah, really, really disappointing. The whole of the first half, but also end of the first half as well, especially because you thought to yourself, oh, if we're not at least level by half time, we're going to have a real stinker here. But yeah, Arteta clearly gave him a hairdryer and a half at half time.
Well, he said, yeah, it's weird that, because he said He didn't really. I mean, that's what his claim was anyway. He said, basically, Calafiori said he just told us to start winning our duels. And if you win your duels, you'll win the game. And the other thing I'd say for the goal, which I think you were completely right on everything, is there was a foul from Xhaka on Eze, in my opinion, before the Zubimendi foul. And that's what really annoyed me in that process. Again, doesn't excuse anything. They've got a free kick on the halfway line that the goalkeeper took. You should be ready for it. But I remember that moment within about 5 seconds being like, how's he not got a foul there? Because Xhaka was spending the first 30 minutes basically just kicking people. And I'm so stunned that I think he ended up getting given 1 foul against him in this game, Granit Xhaka. I can count about 5 in that first half that he made, but none of them got called, which was incredible. And the only one that did get called, he's absolutely losing it with a ref. And then I think the other one that gets called maybe later in the first half or second half, he gets booked for, funnily enough. And I remember thinking, you're actually quite lucky to be on the pitch here because you've made about 5 fouls already. And he got away with it a lot. That was his way. I think he led that, a lot of that lay one on them, be very physical with them. But like you said, from the free kick, you can't let a centre-back roll you. You can't let a centre-back, I mean, it's a great finish from Ballard. I mean, no taken away from it. But you can't miss the first ball because he's misjudged it. He's misjudged the flight of it. But he knows quite early that, well, I'm underneath this. You've got to turn back to your own goal. How's he gone on rolled off the shoulder of you, Declan? I don't know how. I mean, and the frustration with Arteta there will be, you're the best in the world at that. You are the best in the world at winning first and second balls, and you've just gone to sleep for about 3 or 4 seconds. And I remember watching that thinking, that never happens. What's happened there? And that kind of summed up the first half, didn't it, in a way, really, where everyone looked like they were off the pace. Our forwards were off it. I think we do have to have a conversation about Saka, because although he scored an absolute brilliant goal, I think a lot of his overall play, certainly in the last couple of games, has left me very frustrated, to be honest. We're usually very, very comfortable and confident with him taking the ball in and under pressure, and I just felt he's been very sloppy with it in these games, and that's what's annoyed me more than anything. Even these sort of like poor finishing up until that goal didn't annoy me as much as the fact that I don't feel he's been as comfortable in possession, and we've been losing the ball, giving the ball into him. I think Odegaard not being there plays its part. Very easy when you've got someone that's 5 yards away from you to play the ball, wall passes off of, but I don't think that's really an excuse for him at this point. But yeah, I mean, like you said, Saliba had his chance. We were probably, as poor as we were in the first half, I mean, they only had 2 shots on target in the whole game. One of them was in the first half they scored from, and one of them was in the 94th minute, and they also scored from it. So it was really, it wasn't, I think the frustration was, from our perspective, is we really didn't push them back in the first half, and they were able to break up play a lot, make it a long ball game and a first and second ball game, and they were doing very well in the duels in the first half, I thought. And where we were struggling, I think we were allowing the ref issues and things like that to sort of emotionally get on top of us a little bit. Just felt like a game we looked a little bit off the pace, really. But maybe that one goal, took a little bit of time, but it woke us up, because in the second half it was completely different. I mean, it was one-way traffic from the start. And we turned it around, Neil. I mean, we turned it around with 2 absolutely fantastic goals. I think Rice redeems himself for the first one. I think he's the one that wins the ball back, that gives it to Trossard, who gets another goal and an assist here, who's deserves so much credit, Trossard. I mean, out of all our attackers this season, that half of them are on the treatment table, the other half are inconsistent in front of goal. He's the oldest player, one of which we all, and a lot of Arsenal fans, were willing to let go in the summer. I think I definitely was one of them. And he's gone out there and he's showing them all up. He's showing every single one of them up. He's gone to them, I can be here every week and available, touch wood. But generally speaking, Trossard in his Arsenal career can say that. I mean, I don't remember him being out for more than a 2-weeker. He's the oldest. They've all got to take a lot. I'm not blaming injuries on anyone, but they've all collectively, they've got to be looking at him going, yeah, you're showing us up here, mate. To be honest, you're out there every week, 3 times a week, and you're I think that's his 8th goal and assist this season so far in all comps. I mean, he deserves some credit, Neil. But 2 brilliant goals, and Trossard's was the pick of them.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I think he's got the most goal combinations in 2025, hasn't he, for us? So that says it all. And the only other interesting thing is for Saka, as you're talking about him. Again, I think I'll let you go. You two go. You already seem a bit more not critical, but you've got a little bit more passion about what you want to say about him. So I'll let you talk about it. But it's interesting. His first open play goal for a year and a half, and it's that is kind of I didn't know that. Is it? Yeah, I didn't actually know that. I was a bit surprised when I saw that stat, and it's like, wow,
No, it can't be right. He scored one against Leeds this season.
Oh, okay.
It can't be right. There's some.
No. Away. First open play away.
Yeah, away. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, that's it.
Sorry.
I forgot to say away. My bad. Thanks, James. Yeah, his first open goal away for a year and a half, which it's still quite surprising because he tends to be, he is our talisman, as you guys say, and quite rightly so. And then when you look at the amount of wages he's on, then we do expect more from you, Bukayo. But I was saying on the WhatsApp chat, and I still stand by that a little bit, that I don't want to be overcritical at the moment. I'm not saying you guys are. Please don't take it that way. But I just feel that we still started so well this season. I think this feels. I'll tell you what this feels like. It feels like because we just didn't expect it, and I think it hurts a lot because it would have been lovely to go into the international break, very polished, very clean. Because we've got our next 5 games are going to be very, very difficult, no matter what kind of form we were on. And this was a great opportunity to have the biggest cushion we possibly can have on our rivals, and it would have been nice to go away, still keeping a tidy, clean sheet, and having that defensive record. And it just would have been another statement of intent and put more pressure, I think, on the 2 teams playing later today. So I think it's more of a disappointment for me than anything else. But yeah, I'll talk about the positives a little bit. I think I think it's a game of 2 halves, isn't it, for us? This game was definitely a game of 2 halves, apart from the last few minutes where we lost control again. And I thought the first goal, that was brilliant by Rice. As much as he was at fault for the first goal that they scored, he was superb for this one. The way he got back and with that interception and won the ball back with strength, I thought he was very strong there. And I think he lays it off to Eze, I think it was, who then passed it on to Marino for the assist, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think that was the passage of play. But that was a great ball finish by Saka. And that's what we're used to seeing from him, where he gets the ball, you feel confident that he's going to do something with it very positively. And you're right, yesterday, on a number of occasions, I felt that he just wasn't at the races to do that. And he was, even that goal he put wide, there was a chance on the left-hand side, which he put wide, didn't he? I think it was a great ball by Zubimendi, I think it was. And he just pushed it, put it wide, which was quite, didn't even hit the target. And that was quite unlike him. I thought,
it was an easier chance. Sorry, Marino that gave the assist for Saka's goal.
That's it.
Sorry, for Saka's goal, I thought it was Trossard for some reason, but I think it was Marino that gave the assist. I don't know why it looked like Trossard.
Marino's assist. That's it. But that was a great finish. But I was more impressed by Trossard. I think he's been involved in everything good, and he's been so important for us this season. He's come up with important goals, important interactions, just important play on that left-hand side. And I can't again recall who it was that laid the ball off to him, but that was more all Trossard, that second goal. I think it was Zubimendi again. I think it was Zubimendi who gave the assist, but that was all Trossard. The way he was, and he had no right to take a shot from where he took that shot, and there was hardly any space for that ball to hit the net, the back of the net. It was perfect. It was one of the best goals I've seen him score, to be fair, in terms of accuracy. And when that went in, I thought, that's it, we're winning here. And I thought we're going to get another goal, maybe even 4. And we completely decided to backtrack. And this is where, for me, the blame, all right, the players have to look at themselves in the mirror and say, we were not at our best today and we made silly mistakes. But for me, this is on Arteta. Because of the substitution choices, I think he should have gone more aggressive. And we've seen it for so many years, James. The team that are at the top, when they're winning the Premiership and they've got every intention to, when they come back or they get 1 or 2 goals, they'll make sure they get another third or fourth. They'll go for the jugular. They'll go for that kill. And they will show everyone that, yeah, we're not happy with this. We're going to get another 2 more. We're going to silence you. We're going to put you to bed. And I felt we didn't do that. We did not put that team to bed yesterday. And that's where my disappointment and annoyance lies. That we should have, we could have, and we did so well to come back. It was a drab first half to come back and to show our mentality. Remember, I put in the WhatsApp chat, champions find a way. And then we let it go. And that's my disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at us at 1-1, James, I mean, it was relentless. We scored that goal from Saka and we went mental. I mean, we had the Marino chance from the Trossard pass, Zubimendi chance that Neil mentioned, lovely Trossard pass, Eze volley, Zubimendi bar. I mean, it's all happened within the space of 5-10 minutes. I mean, we were absolutely relentless. There was no sign of tired legs. You know, and this was 10 minutes before the Trossard goal. So it doesn't happen that instantaneously. That's a dropping off based on the result and based on kind of guidance from your manager. It just has to be, because you're just flying at that point. There is no tiredness in your legs. You're like, we are going to score. We're going to win this game. And that is the frustration. Is I don't think it was. I think we were tired collectively. I'm sure we were, but you feel more tired when you're chasing the ball than when you've got the ball. I tell you that much. And that's the frustrating thing, James. For me, I felt, yeah, we didn't have, we didn't have an experienced attacking lineup on the bench, sure, but he had a lot of other options for me that wouldn't have invited pressure. I know it was only the 88th minute, it was so late that he made his first sub, but we should have made subs before that. For me, you shouldn't be playing your 11 players only. Our squad isn't that depleted, certainly not in a defensive aspect or central midfield aspect, for us to do that. And I don't think Eze, I don't think he had a particularly good game, but I don't think he was rested in midweek. He didn't need to. He was ready to play 90. He was ready to play 90. He was one of the 3 that got rested in midweek. So taking your creator off and adding a defender to the group, it signals the intention to them and to our group more worryingly to, okay, shut up shop here. And I don't think that was the right. I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. If we got away with it, you'd say got away with it again, brilliant. But I don't think that was necessary.
No, and I mean, if you look at it, as soon as it is 2-2, we go up the other end. Calafiori nearly scores with a header. It's a good save from the keeper. And then Marino has the one that's blocked that he should have scored. And then you're thinking, this is a completely different podcast. I mean, you'd still be going, fucking hell, got away with one there, but it's a completely different podcast. So it showed you when we went attacking, we nearly score again straight away. When we go front foot, this was the thing. And we kept saying it. And Neil, you're probably going to get bored because you hear me and you hear Mike say it all the time. Play the team that you're against. Don't ignore. I know it's really hard, but all that noise and everything, I'm like, just ignore it. Try your best. Play football. Because they wanted to make it a nitty-gritty, gritty, shitty sort of game. And I know that we've shown signs and glimpses this season of how that can happen and we can be resolute and come back. But eventually that's not always going to be the case. And like you said there, the indication with that substitution, I could see where Sunderland were going, they're going to go back 10 yards now. So and it should have been that we should have been doing that up their end of the pitch. Yeah, I know people will go to me, James, there was a 15-year-old, a 17-year-old and a 19-year-old in attacking positions. Well, he's played them all this season, so don't tell me he doesn't trust them. I know what you said about, Nwaneri's off the ball work, or, Doman up there might have got kicked to bits. But he got kicked to bits in the Champions League at Prague. This lad, I know he's 15 years old, but he could have gone up there like he did against frog, come on, run about with his legs and everything. And you know what's he elite at, Jack? Winning fouls. He's brilliant at it. Look how many penalties he's won for us already. He done it in the league against, was it Leeds? When he come on, he won us a penalty. So you know what he can do. So that was you either, if you were going to lock that shit down, like the indication was from that sub, you should have done it with loads of them. If you were going to proper pack it and go negative, boring lockdown football, you should have brought every single one of them possible. You should have got you should have done Norgard, you should have done either a Ben White or a Skelly, because you still need someone that's good on the ball just in case to try and get it out. But yeah, or you should have bought someone that's going to peng them back. And like I said before we started recording and everything, this season, I've been so impressed with him, with the fact that he's used all 5 of his subs. He's made good subs at a good time and everything. But he regressed here. He went back to last season. And it was just like, well, why have you done that? Like, why are you only using one? First of all, the timing of it. And second of all, like, well, what, just one?
Yeah,
and it's nothing. Before people start, it's nothing against Mosquera as a player. I don't blame Mosquera here at all. But like you said, the choice of Eze when he didn't play midweek, and I know he didn't have a great game. And yeah, we need so much more from Eze than what we're getting. But I'm starting to think now. When that Odegaard injury happened, I said, if you're playing anyone in the hole, it's got to be Eze or Nwaneri, because there's no one else for me that can play there. But I'm thinking you're probably, and it's harsh because Trossard's doing so bloody well. But I'm like, you're probably, if everyone's back, you're on the bench then, Eze, because you're not getting in on the left-hand side over Trossard for me at the moment. And I think Odegaard, due to the lack of creativity there at the moment, he walks back into this side. He walks back in. And Neil, me and you say it constantly. I don't think you should be given a given. I think you should be fighting for your place. But he walks straight back in for me over Eze at the moment. He walks, because it's not productive enough, Jack, at the moment from him. And I love the guy. Like, look what we were saying all summer. Like, I'd love to have him, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And then when it did happen, my God, I was losing my head.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's not productive enough in that role at the moment for me. And yeah, but going back onto the goals and everything, I know Calafiori, from a defensive standpoint, and I know he's a defender and that's what you want him to do, didn't have one of his best games. He was giving away loads of silly fouls yesterday. He got a bit, sucked into it, like we said, and everything. But he was one of the only ones for me that was making himself a nuisance, getting into the box. And that's what I want Eze to be doing. That's what I want Saka to be doing. Because as much as I love and you're right, Neil, the strike and everything from Trossard is superb. It's definitely
the run
arguably
from Calafiori, in it.
Yeah, because the guy for Sunderland's like, stick with him. And then that open, you know how Gyökeres will make a run either onto that left-hand side, that right-hand side, and 2 of them will go, well, I've got to go with him. You weren't getting that from Marino yesterday. You weren't getting that from Saka yesterday. Trossard, bless him, he didn't do it. It was only Calafiori.
Yeah. He's a distraction.
Yeah, definitely.
He's actually really valuable when you're a goal down, because he does unexpected things.
Yeah,
and that's what you need.
They know this guy's a threat in the box. This guy scores. I know he's a left back, but he's a bit tidy. He's a bit of a, he's a bit tasty when it comes to being in the box. So, but that weren't done enough yesterday, other than for the goal. And yeah, it's arguably our goal of the season if you want to look at it from like strike perspective. See, some people like these thunderous strikes like me. Other people like the, Wilshere versus Norwich type goals. It's all on preference. But there weren't enough. There weren't enough of it yesterday.
No. Yeah, no, there was. We did fantastically well in that sort of period to come back to 2-1. I have to say we did. And in some games, I really understand when he decides to take his foot away from the ball a little bit more and go into a defensive block. And look, we only conceded 3 goals before this. Let's be honest, he knows what he's doing defensively. What was weird about this one for me is when he changes things in defence, he usually does it like for like. He doesn't usually add one to the group. I don't remember him doing that often. Like, just adding we don't play back fives. We so when Mosquera come on, I was like, well, if it was for Saliba, I'd be like, well, okay, makes sense. It's like for like, maybe Saliba's feeling something, or maybe you just wanted to freshen up centre backs. But even then, he's usually his full-backs that he rotates around. He doesn't usually change centre-backs during peak moments of games like that. He just doesn't do it. He does it against Prague when you're 3-0 up, but that's different. That's because the game's gone and won. So I found that doubly hard to understand. I mean, I did think it was, at the moment of it happening, I have to say I did think that's a little odd for me. That's almost a double whammy. You've taken your biggest creator off, in the sense of position, even though he wasn't doing it to the level that we want, like James said. But you've also added a defender to a group that's already got, a full set, and it really kind of encourages them to go for it. Whereas you add an attacking sub, or even just did something a little different where you just wanted to renew the energy of the group, putting Cappy on to give a bit more energy and legs in there, more aggression in there in the back line, a little bit more running power with the ball, Lewis Skelly, someone like that, absolutely would have made a lot more sense to me than that sub that he made. But I mean, even in making that sub, they did trouble us. That they were troubling us with this diagonal long ball, a long throw, all game, which is stuff that we've handled quite well all season from all teams, really. And their ball, the only thing I would say for it is they weren't going direct towards the box. They were almost going for the second ball. They were trying to win the first and go for the second. That's how they got both goals, really. On the second goal, there's a lot you could argue about the blame. I mean, Zubimendi, I don't think you can really moan at him for not winning that header. It's Ballard again, isn't it? And he's massive. And I think even from the throw-in that got called offside, where Reyes saves tremendously, but it's offside. But it's Ballard again. So really, Ballard was their target for almost all of these. He's almost like their Harry Maguire, who they just chuck up there, and he did fantastically well at doing that. But I think afterwards, it's really, I mean, Neil, I think the more you look at it, it's Gabriel and Raya. Really, you can take your pick. They both don't look great from the goal, really, do they?
It is such a sucker punch, isn't it? It was horrible. God, it was heartbreaking. Just wanted before I talk about it. I don't really want to talk about it, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know what Raya's doing so low. Not Raya, or Gabriel's doing so low. It doesn't. It was so unlike him. He's been so commanding in both boxes. We've been saying it, that he's as good as from an attacking perspective, commanding that box, as he's been what his job is as a defender, as a central defender. And it just was so unlike him, atypical of Gabriel. He was just so low. It was almost as if, was he expecting Raya to take command? Because Raya had done well beforehand. It was 3 or 4 actually, where he was called upon. There was one which was given offside anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But as everyone knows, he doesn't know that in that snapshot moment in time. And he saved. It was I think it was a double save or something. There was another one where he actually hurts his arm or his hand in doing it. And I thought nothing. Even as I said to you before, even if someone does manage to breach that defence, they got Raya to contend with. And I thought we're still going to be fine. It was a bit of a worrying period, but I just thought we're going to be fine. The only thing that was scaring me, I'll be honest, I was scared that Xhaka was going to get the equaliser. It would be typical for Xhaka to score the equaliser, wouldn't it? Especially when there was an argument that maybe...
the pitch 45 minutes ago.
Exactly, when there's an argument they shouldn't even be on the pitch. And I thought that would be even worse. But I just thought no one's going to get past Raya at this rate. But I think you're right. I think it could be a bit of a 50-50 blame, because I don't know what Raya's pulling there. Some kind of... an amazing way to show everyone how you land when you fall in a weird way. His legs are up akimbo, and I don't know what's going on with him. It looks a bit comical. If you can look back on it, if we win the title and look back on it, you'd actually find that moment a bit funny, with Gabriel being low and Rev up in the air with his legs up in the air. And it just looks like almost like a comedy sketch, but it just looks so unlike both of them, as if they were both hurried, or they just didn't know what they were doing, or there was a moment of panic. I don't know, but it was an awful awful situation and an awful scene to watch. But you can't take nothing away from that finish. I thought initially there's got to be a foul in the build up to that and the goal, and there wasn't. It was a clean finish for me. I don't know how he managed to contort his foot the way he did to get the ball into the net, but my God, that was some finish, and it was just a gut wrenching way to see our team drop points and to concede 2 goals for the first time in quite a while as well. I mean, James probably know the stats for that, but it's been a while even for that to happen. But my worry is this, that up until now we've been very good at handling the physical side. You know, we used to be the bullied, and more recently, I think ever since that 2 or 3 seasons ago when we challenged City, we could have won it. Coming runs up 3 in a row, but we've been building up this defence, but also very physical side to contend with those bullies, especially from up north or the Midlands, where you're expected that they can't outplay us technically, so they're going to just physically, take us off the pitch. And more recently, and especially this season with that record, the defensive record, I felt that we're actually the best at doing it now. We are the ones that are bullying and giving that little bit of technical skill. And we're not going to let anyone, because of our size, because of our strength. But you know what I felt yesterday? I felt that they're just beasts all over the pitch. And again, it took me back to those Wenger years where we had like a set of Barcelona players, where it was all technically gifted, raw talent, but just too easy to push off the ball. And I felt it felt a bit like that. And it was so, again, very atypical of us of the last few months. I just couldn't understand it. And that second goal was a bit like that. That, that if we'd been a bit more strong physically and a bit more confident, it could have been avoided. But, we just weren't. And it was gut-wrenching. It was horrible to see that. And it really did. You guys made a really good point. But it still didn't stop us from having another attack. So why weren't we doing that all throughout the whole game?
Yeah, see, that's where it's guided from the coach, I believe.
Yeah, and
it has to be.
That RX player, he got a dream game, didn't he? He scores, he assists, and then he saves them at the end with that block. He's going to be on cloud 9 this morning, absolute cloud 9. But he should never have got that far with us. I don't understand. It was like watching a different side yesterday.
Do you think there was always? Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Do you think? Remember last week we spoke about when we concede, there's going to be this sort of feeling, almost like when you lose your invincible type, game, that is going to be an interesting how we react to it. And I have to say, I mean, I don't really recall them creating anything before that goal, but then after that I think we looked a little shaky. We were losing duels, they were getting through a little bit easier, and obviously scored again late on from a similar type of instant, second ball down, things like that. And I just wonder if that sort of collective invincibility, I guess, that belief that nothing's going to get past us. And then when it does, obviously it will. You're not going to not concede forever. You almost have that sort of feeling of, now it's been, we've kind of been opened up. Now we're not as unbreakable as we thought. And how do we react to this? And how do we respond to this? Kind of reminded me of that moment where Rice got sent off last year against Brighton. And there was this moment of, we've never played with 10 men before. What do we do here? And that was that moment, in that 10 minutes, Raul Pedro scored. And then we suddenly realised how to play with 10 men again. And we started to really play well against Brighton. Probably should have won the game, actually. And then we had multiple games where we got red cards, and it kind of knocked on. But it's just, James, I don't know if you feel the same. I did have a worry last week that this is going to end at some point. I kind of wanted it to end midweek. I actually wasn't that upset if Slavia Prague had got a penalty. I was like, I'll just get it out of the way now. Get it out of the way when it doesn't affect the result of the game. And I wonder if that would have been kind of, in a way, helpful, our penalty, but that kind of thing. I don't know. But it felt like that had a knock-on effect a little bit, but ultimately, you know, we're good enough and strong enough to sort of know how good we are, and one goal shouldn't change that really. But I don't know what your thoughts are, James.
Yeah, no, it's all that. It's in your head. It's your mentality, and yeah, there definitely was, you know, something that was seemingly creeping in, and you know, Neil, we spoke about it a few days ago when you and Mike were with me and everything, and you know, I don't know if they're obsessed with beating this Chelsea record. Me personally, of course, I'd like it, but I couldn't give a shit. I want to win the trophies.
Yeah,
I want to win the trophies.
Don't care at all. Yeah,
and if you think now, after watching that yesterday, we're not going to concede 9 goals for the rest of the season, I think you've got another thing coming. I think there's no way that we're going to beat that record now after the display of yesterday. But yeah, again, you know, when we're setting up from set piece situations like these throw-ins or some of these free kicks that they got near the end, I have not seen Gabriel Hines, and I don't know, Jack, like you said, you were obviously occupied, but you were watching. He was fucking screaming at Jova like mad. Going to him like, I don't like how this is set up. Do you remember, Neil? Because Sky were panning to him, weren't they? And he was leaning over the top of him, or like right in his ear, being like, no. And he's like, he was like sort of leaning over him to be like, ignore him and do what I'm saying. He was going, weren't he? He was like, you move that way, you over here. And I'm like, he was not impressed with how that defence was doing things towards the end of that game. He was seething with them. And that's what I like, because like I put in our WhatsApp group, bless him, Steve Round, Arteta gave him a job when nobody else was giving him anything. And it was basically like, I brought you back into the football fold. So even if you do want to challenge me, I'm not listening to you, mate, because, you know, I got you back on the gravy train. So shut your mouth. But where him and Arteta are friends and have been friends for a long time, for me, a good friend will hold you accountable when you make mistakes in your life. And I think on that coach home, they probably sat next to each other with the laptop, the iPad, whatever you want to call it. And he was going through it with him going, I ain't having that again. Like, I'm not letting that defend, you know. He's like, they were poor there, Mikel. And you sort of, with that sub that you made, you sort of allowed that negativity and that sort of, you know, confident, because like you said, Jack, and we haven't done it this season, playing like we're 2 goals. Oh, it's a given now. There's only 2 minutes. We'll hold on. And it feels bad saying it's an arrogance, but Neil's completely right. When you've seen the other teams that have been in these positions, they'll kill it off, and they'll get the 3 points and not the 1 point. And I know that sounds extremely negative, considering that we're top of the league with points to gap. We're top of the Champions League, and we're in a quarter final of a cup competition, and we've still got another cup competition left to play. But you have to. I come on here and I say what I see, always have, always will. And that yesterday just wasn't good enough.
Yeah,
just wasn't good enough. But the perspective, you know, it's not one of these where you're down and out and you're thinking, well, that's it. You know, I'm not completely, that's it now, we're fucked. That's everything gone and everything. Because I've seen some of that, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous. But it's definitely something that we can learn from. So go away, go with your international clubs and everything, but lick your wounds, because we've got, and form goes out the window for that next game that's coming up. It doesn't matter where we are in the table. It doesn't matter where they are in the table, how we're playing, what they're doing. Derbies are derbies, especially this one. So, and as much as we need the break to get people back, I would loved if we didn't have a game, if they knew that next Saturday they've got that game, because they would be coming out with a dog like 2 dicks, I think, after one for, we got to do something for these fans that went all that way and have felt the same sort of pain that we're feeling on our coach drive on the way home, but also because it's them lot as well. I would have loved if we didn't have a break. Because
it's weird. You wanted it if we won, though, didn't you? Because
you want
the players back, don't you?
Yeah, but
it's a weird one.
It it would have been such a good, you know,
you want
such a good one to come back, because they're going to be. I mean, they're amped up for it anyway. But if they knew that game's next week, they'd have been doubly amped up for it, I think.
Yeah.
Can I just make a couple of quick points? My other fear is, and I hope it's not warranted, is other teams might look at the way Sunderland played and think, right, we're going to do this. This is what we're going to do now going forward to stop this machine. So I think James is right. James, you use the key word there, the buzzword, learn. We have to learn from this, and we have to quickly. I know it sounds stupid because it was within 90 minutes, it was a couple of, as Jack quite rightly says, only 2 shots on target from them, and that was it. You know, it's a done deal. But we've got to learn from it ASAP, quickly, immediately. Learn from it, and then put it right, and then get that aura back that we're not going to let you physically outplay us and put us back into a shell. And then kind of like, oh God, we've got to be careful. We've got to be cautious. No. You stand firm. You revert back to what you were before pre-Sunderland game, and you make everyone know that we are not going to be, under the cosh by any of you, physically or mentally, and skillfully. And we're going to regain that control. That's the first thing. Because I don't want other teams to look at that and say, right, that's the game tactics. That's it. It's not pretty, but it will stop Arsenal from doing what they're going to do. Yeah, you come and try that, because it hadn't worked. Everything up until it didn't work again. In Europe, they tried it then, and it didn't work. We thought, yeah, come on, do that. That 7 foot, I don't know, that Chewbacca geezer, he couldn't do it. So, and then he got sent. He was off anyway. He was substituted. That's what we've got to do. We've got to put the fear of God into all ththese teams, and we've got to. So we'll allow this. And the other thing is this hang up about these records about shots on target, and I'm glad as well. In fact, I'm as stupid and as controversial as this it is. I'm glad it happened yesterday, or for you today, Jack, and it's not going to happen against Tottenham, because that would have been even worse. Because you know what they're like. Their fans are like, oh yeah, we're the ones that stopped Arsenal. We scored against them. Because inevitably, I know I'd love to say we're going to beat them 20-0. But inevitably, North London derbies, they score as well. We know that. So I'm glad it's happening now rather than it happened there. And now, in a weird way, I'm glad for the international break, because we are struggling with players. We are struggling with players, especially up front. And I'm hoping these 2 weeks, or wherever it is, allows a little bit more time for at least 1 or 2 of them to come back. So then we have got options up front. I agree with you, James. I think yesterday, I know what you said, Jack, and it does make sense as well. But I think I would have liked someone like Ethan to come on. I would have liked someone like Doman to come on, because I think it would have kept them thinking that they're going for a third here, and that mentality. That way of getting into someone's head, not just the players, not just their manager, but also the fans around the stadium, that could have been the difference. Just by making those subs, oh my God, they're not sitting back, they're going for a third or a fourth here. We've got to be careful. And I just felt like that substitution just made them think, oh yeah, we like James and you said, Jack, we've got them now. We got them. We're gonna really get on the front line, get on the front foot, and that's what happened. But I don't want other teams to look at this and say, right, this is how we're going to be able to play Arsenal. That's my worry, and I think we should be big enough to be able to counter that immediately. Stop that in its tracks.
Yeah, Neil, Neil makes a great point there as well. Is that Granit Xhaka was on a booking. That left back who Reynaldo or whatever, Ronaldo's idiot brother, he was a tit the whole game. I don't know. He made 7 fouls before he was booked. Calafiori makes 1 or 2. Oh yeah, I'll book him straight away. This guy made about 7 until he finally got. But yeah, bringing on a Nanweri or like we said earlier with Adelman, get him running at Xhaka, get him running at this idiot, because they would have kicked him, and then they're going to play it down.
I actually agree more with the Dowman suggestion, to be honest, because I think Ranieri's got a lot to learn off the ball, and the second thing is he clearly doesn't trust him in the front three, and I think we needed to freshen up the front three since last season. But Dowman, with his running abilities, dribbling abilities, he's just so fearless that I think actually drop it. This was a game where, let's be honest, if we had a fully fit squad, it was a Rice and Marino midfield type of Arteta game, wasn't it? He would have done that, but he didn't have the option to do it. And the one thing I would say for him, on all the subs and everything where we've criticised him, which I think he deserves in terms of what he did in terms of the defensive subs, he had other options where he didn't need to add to the defensive group, I think, if you like. In terms of an attacking sense, I mean, the amount of injuries he's got, and whether we want to blame him partly for those, I think, there's probably justification in that, but I guess we don't really know the ins and outs of it. But it is absolutely incredible. I mean, Havertz, Odegaard, they've been out all season. Jesus been out all season. Madueke, only when he just needs you to be fit for 6 to 8 weeks, mate. And you can, Martinelli's now out. There's so many up there. I'm missing someone as well. I don't know who I'm missing. There's so many injuries up there. I think Gyökeres just been out as well. Who rarely ever gets injured. There's so many,
you're forgetting them, Jack.
Yeah, there's so many though. And nobody. So I had Stephen Warnock commentating here, and he just kept going on about, just look at the depth of Arsenal's bench, and I'm like, you're not even going to mention the fact that we've got the most injuries in the league again. And no one will. Honestly, other than Arsenal fans, no one will mention it, and it's actually incredible. Odegaard's our captain. James walks back into the team. He's our captain, for crying out loud.
Look at the League Cup situation the other day. Yeah, old Baldy slot and the three hairs. This Arsenal and Man City. If they could bring this one on, I've only got teenagers. Well, look at us. Like I said, 15. 17, 19. And I'm like, it's like you just said there. Other than Arsenal fans, it doesn't get talked about. Seven attacking injuries. And like we said before, most of them are our starting attack from last season. The consistency that we had with the attack, all of those players, the year that we scored the most goals we've ever scored in the Prem, all done by those players that are out. Yeah. Saka and Martinelli contributed massively as well, but Martinelli's now out. The only one that's still there is Saka, and bless him, people might think, you've been really harsh on him. But I'm sorry, when you're putting him in the bracket, people are trying to say to me he's on the level of par with Mo Salah, with Lamine Yamal, with all these. He's not. Don't let a goal cloud your judgment on how he was yesterday. He was wasteful. He was poor. And if you asked him, he'd admit he was probably poor himself. But when you're the face of the club, don't get me wrong, I loved that Christmas advert the other day. Much better than this John Lewis one, everyone. And I'm not going mad about the John Lewis one for reasons that people think. It's nothing to do with my political stance or anything. I just thought it was a shit advert. But the Arsenal one, like, fair play. They must have spent a lot of money getting that Amy Winehouse song licensed and everything. Well played, well done. But I'm like, he's front and centre of everything, and he's got the right to. But when you are that guy, you've got to give me more than that, especially away at Sunderland, especially when the player you're directly up against is on a booking. He didn't go at him enough. He didn't charge at him enough.
No.
And it wasn't a case of he weren't being given the ball, because he was being given the ball more than anybody, because you're the man, mate.
Yeah, like Neil said, he missed a chance way easier 2 or 3 minutes before it, and it weren't close. It was like 10 yards wide, and I was livid. And
it was on his stronger foot. And it was on his scored the one with the weaker. Yeah.
When he scored the weaker one, I was so angry that I threw the iPad down. But not angry, but I was like, you should have scored the earlier one. And I think if you want to be in that bracket with Salah and Yamal, you can't. Every now and then, I have to say this about Saka, I get the feeling that when he gets a goal or an assist, he kind of thinks his job's done for the night. And I think a lot of the substitute appearances we've had from him in the past have been when he's got a goal or he's got an assist and he's gone, I'm done here. And it's not, if you want to go and win things, it ain't done, man. You've got to go again. And if you want to be in the Mo Salah and Yamal bracket, that's exactly what those players do. And if we want him to be in that bracket, I'll tell you what you do. You hold on the contract throughout the year. Because if you hold on the contract throughout the year, you might just end up getting a player that plays for that contract. And there's never a bad thing about that, because we all know what happens when you give players the biggest contracts. You can go one way or the other, can't it? It can go the Aubameyang and Ozil way, or maybe you get lucky and they continue because they are one of the greats and they continue on and on and on like a Salah would. Probably. Well, we'll see. But I think he's proven it for long enough now, Salah. But I'm not saying you shouldn't be giving Saka a big contract. But what I am saying is I don't necessarily think it has to be an absolute rush at this point when you've got a player under contract and you could be talking about him and be trying to do it maybe Jan-Feb time, but he needs to do more in games. Sometimes even when he scored that goal, it's yes to the crowd. I want you yes to the crowd. Go run and get the ball, mate. Run and get the ball. That's what we need you to do, because we want you to do it again. And I think Saka is our best attacker, but I don't think he's looked the same since that hamstring injury, to be honest. And he's looked better since coming back from this one, for sure. Had a bit of a wobble. But his finishing's been pretty poor since he's come back. I'd say that much. This was his first open play goal since coming back, other than the League Cup, I think, wasn't it? And he's had a lot of chances. Even in midweek, he had a lot of chances, a lot of openings, and he didn't take them. What is slightly encouraging since this injury, as opposed to the previous one where he had surgery, is he is getting in the position more. Against Prague, he was kind of making sure he was the last man up there almost, because Mourinho was dropping him to midfield a little bit, and that's no fault of Mourinho's. I mean, that's what he does as a centre forward. He's going to do that at times because he hasn't really got the attributes that Gyökeres or Havertz does. But we've got to get some of these players back. I mean, my brother's absolutely laying into Saka. He thinks he should be sold. Obviously, I don't think that. I mean, I think that's ridiculous. But I do think it can be, Madueke could be really helpful for him. Having him, pushing him, seeing that contrast in terms of dribbling ability and going at fearlessness. He's very different to Saka in terms of his dribbling ability. Doesn't have the output that Saka does. Wouldn't have finished that chance that Saka got given. No chance on his right, not a chance. He would have finished that, Madueke. But he has a different type of attributes where you're just like, give the ball to him and he would have really freed up some energy in that last 15 just from dribbling away. And we do miss that, because, to be honest, I mean, people forget this as well. When Madueke came off against City, he was our best player. He was our best player at the time he came off. I remember us all going, "Oh no, he's our only outlet at this point." It's just amazing how many of those we've had. And like you said, Odegaard and Havertz, they walked into this team 12 months ago. I mean, they just walked into it. They were without doubt starters, and I'm still not 100% certain they're not. I think they probably do again, and that we've missed that all season. We're
also missing Gyökeres already.
Yeah, he's out now.
As much as critical as people have been about him, and I'm fuming about that, by the way, absolutely fuming about that. If he had been on the pitch yesterday, that would have been another distraction. We talked about Calafiori's distraction, but Gyökeres does that. He's not scoring 20,000 goals like that cyborg, but he is adding other attributes to the game. And I think that may have taken a little bit of emphasis, how can you say, exposure off Saka, and it might have helped him. I don't know. But yesterday it was all about Saka. It had to be about Saka. He was the main man. But if Gyökeres had been there, I think that would have helped Saka in a way. Possibly, and it's all hypothetical now, isn't it?
Neil,
and it's all with hindsight. Yeah, and just before, you're talking about injuries. Can I just talk about, here is the narrative yet again against us, right? If can you imagine if Liverpool lost Salah for a period of time, or City loses Haaland for a whole season, like we've lost players, everyone will be going on about it. Oh yeah, but they've lost their talents, they've lost their best player. We don't lose one, we've lost about 5 or 6, and no one talks about it. No one talks about it. Apart from that's what really just grates on me. That why is it one rule for us and another for all the other teams out there? Yeah, we are down to the bare bones when it comes to attack. Apart from our teenagers, and yes, they're very, very talented guys, but we have lost our senior team up front.
And Odegaard's our most important attacking player.
Exactly.
I mean, to me, he's still in the top 10 in the league.
Yeah, he is.
25.
And Saka
he's been injured for about half of it.
And Saka is or was at his best with Odegaard when they are both flying. The combinations between the two of them. Now, look, I have said earlier in this, in a podcast, maybe the last podcast, I said that he's built up a really good relationship with Timber, and he has. But it just didn't seem to click as well as we expected to yesterday. But I think when Odegaard and Saka were on form and flowing with each other, the intricate little passes they used to do near the opposition box. I mean, I used to sometimes think, how are they doing that? So quick thinking, and it would bamboozle defenders. And we're missing all of that from Odegaard. We're missing all of it.
We're missing his press as well because, when Gyökeres is out now, because Gyökeres, he just got to the point where he was learning the Havertz press. He was putting in such work, and I was so impressed by it. I was like, oh, you've got him up to a fitness level that we never would have got him up to if Havertz was fit. So that was one sort of blessing from it all. But when you've got Havertz and Gyökeres and Odegaard out, your press is basically non-existent because Saka doesn't press. And Martinelli does a little bit, but again, he's out. So we basically don't have anyone that's pressing. So they can play out a lot easier when all your pressers are gone. Trossard doesn't press, Saka doesn't press, Mourinho can't physically do that. Bless him, he can't. Eze does not do that. It becomes so much easier. So when you're watching teams going, are they getting out a little bit easier and getting, pushing up the pitch a little bit smoother? You haven't got that front line that you literally, your whole press has gone. And this hasn't been 1 or 2 games. I mean, a lot of these players have been out for the whole season. I mean, Havertz played like 15 minutes in the first game. Odegaard, I think he's played 2 or 3 games in total. I mean, he's had 4 injuries or something this season. It's just, it is absolutely infuriating. And to be fair to Arteta, I saw his comments after the game and I agree with everything he said. I agreed with absolutely everything he said. He said, we weren't good enough in the first half. He was very honest about it. He went, we have a ton of injuries up front. He went, we can't do a lot at the moment. He said, we've handled it very well with these 3 games in a week. He went, I've only got positives to say about my players. So, I'm plagiarising and ad-libbing a little bit there, but I read it and I went, he's not really pulled any excuses there. He's said we weren't good enough here and there. He's obviously mentioned the injuries, but not. How can you not? How can you not? I mean, I literally think about it every day. I'm like, I can't believe it. I just can't believe the amount of injuries that we've got. It's just unbelievable. And I think for Arsenal fans, what's so frustrating is we went through it all last year as well. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes you think, it's just, one of those dreadful sort of moments or crises that every team goes through. But it's so we're like, we just went for it, mate. We just went for it. It's like COVID popping along twice in 6 months. I mean, you're like, we've just done it, mate. We just had a lockdown. We're doing it again. It's just really, really frustrating. I'm more frustrated by that than the 2 points dropped and everything. I'm just like, because that's the reason for it, Neil. We spoke last week, we've got away with it a little bit with the injuries, and then I was like, well, actually, the reason we lost to Liverpool was the injuries. The reason we lost to Liverpool was the injuries. We didn't have Odegaard, Havertz. We lost to Libra after 5 minutes. We didn't have Saka. That was basically, we would have wiped the floor with them if we had all those players. And it's so frustrating, especially when you hear these other big teams talking about injuries because they've lost one player, or they've lost an 18-year-old centre back that they've played once in their whole history. And I'm just like, it's not even in the same ballpark.
No, not in the same league as us.
And honestly, the amount of injury data you saw 2 years ago when City had a lot, you had everybody listing it. Everyone would list it. Here's the injury table. For love nor money, I cannot find it. I can find a current injury list, but if you ask for one since the start of the season, you can't find it. You have to create your own data. It's amazing how it's just, we won't do it right now.
And Jack, you said it's only last season we've gone through it, mate. We've had key injury crisis since I can remember.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what it is with our club. Every bloody season, even if we're going through a good spell, key injury, bang, it derails us. Key injury, bang, and always at the worst possible time. Even I remember going back as with Theo Walcott, bless him, when he went through that really good run, probably the best spell in his career. And then when he did the famous 2-0, the finger sign when he came off on the stretcher against Tottenham,
tore his ACL.
Up to that point, we started seeing the Theo that we all wanted to see, and we lost him, and that was it. That was the end of it. And I don't think he ever recovered from that, really. And it's like, and that's just one example of so many. And that's not just been the last 2, 3, 4 years. I've remember that since I was been watching Arsenal. And that's a long, long time. So I don't know what it is with our club, and I still think there is something that needs to change back in the back, in off the pitch. Something's not right. How can one club consistently suffer from injury after injury after injury? You know, at the start of the season, it was literally 1 or 2 a game in the first 5 games. It was a joke. We lost. We were decimated after 5 games. It's only the depth and the acquisitions we made in the summer that saved us from total, capitulation. That's it.
You know, the only positive, Neil, is when it was happening this time last season, there was a point where we were worried about getting top 4, to be honest. There was. Mourinho stopped us worrying about that. He did. He prevented the floor dropping out of us, really. And this season, we're absolutely moaning about it again because we've got just as many. But we are sitting top of the league. So, if you look at it optimistically, and I don't want to say it, but it hopefully can only get better from here. You know what I mean? Like in terms of it can surely, it's certainly in an attacking sense. I mean, after the break, we should have a minimum of 2 attackers back. You know, a minimum. Hopefully, it's Gyökeres and Martinelli simply because they've been the most active this season and they can help us in that week because we've got a massive week, starting with the North London derby and then Bayern and then Chelsea. But even if you get, a Madueke in the squad or a Havertz crops up somewhere from this minor knee procedure 3 months ago. Jesus for me is still 4 to 6 weeks. I know we've seen him in training, but we know what the ACL, even the average fan should know the ACL procedure for Arsenal Football Club at this time. Once they get back in full training, you're talking 4 to 6 weeks. We knew that from Timber. I expect it around, Christmas time. We should probably be looking, if it's before Christmas time, we'd be like, brilliant, fantastic for Jesus. But again, it's been so long out with Jesus and it's that type of injury, you shouldn't expect too much early on. Really shouldn't. But with Gyökeres and Martinelli, they are match fit. Madueke shouldn't be too far off that. Odegaard maybe the 4th one, or with Havertz. I mean, that could be massive for us. And I mean, that we cannot. I mean, I have to say, we really, hopefully, cannot be going in with Mourinho as a starting centre forward into that North London derby. We have to have another option there, even if it's just from the bench. We have to have another option because there are. And Mourinho, fair play to him, he did fantastic in midweek, got 2 goals. But there are going to be games where he stinks the gap place out like he did it against Sunderland because he's so limited physically that if teams set up in a certain way, he can be kind of sort of marked out of the game. I don't think he touched the ball a lot in this game. He had 43 touches, okay, but he wasn't great on the ball. He had that shot in the last second where if it fell to his left foot, he probably scores it. We've got to have another even if it's just Gyökeres sitting in a squad. I'd be like, oh, thank God, we've got something there. We can play him in midweek, whatever it would be. But my gut tells me, well, actually it's not my gut, but the reports are that Gyökeres and Martinelli, I think Gunnerblog reported that Gyökeres and Martinelli are aiming to be back for the North London derby. Was that right? So hopefully that's relatively truthful information. And those 2 are back because, I mean, even in this game, imagine a Martinelli in the 70th. I mean, or Trossard scores, Martinelli on, and you'd be like, we got a stretcher right there. Boom, off you go on your bike, son. Like that. And it'd be huge, it'd be absolutely huge to get because we do have the attacking depth. And to be like, we've got the attacking depth and suddenly going, is it Mourinho or Dauman or, come on, man. I mean, it's just unreal. It's so frustrating for an Arsenal fan. I can't imagine what it's like for the coaching staff to walk in every day and look at the treatment room and talk to the docs. I mean, I just can't imagine what those conversations are like. He must be pulling his hair out. How he's not bald yet, like all the other coaches. I do not know, but absolutely frustrating. But I don't know if there's anything more to really say on the game. Is there? I mean, frustrated, 2 points dropped. I mean, should we talk a little bit about tomorrow's game? I mean, we all want a draw, right? Who's favourites? City slight favourites because they're at home? I don't know. It could go either way, that one, couldn't it?
Yeah, a draw would be the best scenario. But for me, I think City are probably going to win it. And the annoying thing for me there is that they've got the harder run coming up. If you look at what Liverpool have got in the league up until December, they've got a much easier run in. Yeah. So them winning would be a fucking disaster because they'd be like,
Liverpool winning.
Because they beat, when we beat Real Madrid, all their fans, especially their Irish contingent that are massive on TikTok, but they're not massive anywhere else. They're all saying that's the worst Real Madrid side of all time, and look at Arsenal lapping it up. Typical Arsenal. They talk more about Arsenal than they do their own clubs for some reason, which is mental. But they beat them in midweek, and it's no, this is a better Real Madrid. I'm like, it's not.
They were awful. Real Madrid,
it's really not. I'm like, if anything, they're worse than the Real Madrid that we played.
Yeah,
but
definitely that game.
But I mean, they come off beating Real Madrid and then beating Man City today, or tomorrow for you, Jack. They're going to be fucking insufferable. They're going to be absolutely insufferable. So I think, and they'll be only 5 points behind. And like I said, their running is much easier. After the break, City have got Newcastle, I believe. They've got Palace. They've got Fulham. And I can't remember who else. They've got another one. They've got Leeds in there, which they'll comfortably dispatch Leeds, in my opinion. But I think they've got someone else in there that's quite tricky. But so I ideally think the draw would be the best for us. But if City did win it, I wouldn't be as worried as I would be about Liverpool winning it, because what the thing is with like them, when momentum swings and their fans get a bit back into it, they're one of these clubs, like Neil said, for whatever reason, as much as I fucking despise them, Liverpool always will find a way. That's the most annoying thing about them, is they'll somehow find a way.
Yeah, interesting. What's your thoughts on it, Neil?
My thoughts on it, we should have been 2 further points up the table.
It'd be a nice not to have to discuss this game tomorrow.
How many times was I saying on the chat, we have to win? There's no negotiation here. We have to win, because it's such a great position to be in, where those two are playing each other on that same weekend, where one or both are going to drop points. It was critical for us to win, and we bring the blooming game back into a winning position and we throw it away. That's my thoughts on it. Now I feel like, well, whatever's going to happen is going to happen today. But ideally, a draw is probably the best result for me. A draw is the best result, because City have got a bit of momentum, and if they win, it's going to carry on. And then, like James said, if Liverpool win, they're going to be insufferable, and then they've got arguably an easier next few fixtures, whereas our next 5 games are all tough. We've got Tottenham, Bayern, we've got Brentford, we've got Villa, and we've got Chelsea. 5 really difficult games. That's why, again, this game was so important to win. This is the bit that really infuriates me, and why he made that substitution. I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. But there's nothing we can do about it now. We've got to look forward. We've got to learn, and we've got to just come out stronger. And we've got to be the team we were pre-Sunderland. That's how I see it. I thought the game in midweek that showed, for me, it's so weird, isn't it? That took me to another level with this team, thinking, God, we're up against such a physical side, and we're just like, it's like, annoying mosquitoes. Excuse the pun about our mosquito, but, we're just brushing them off, and we're handling it so well. And then we come against this side and we can't do it. It just doesn't make any sense. And it's infuriating. There's so many factors which make you frustrated, like you're saying, Jack. You are with the injuries, but I just feel that this was such a crucial 2 points which we should have held on to. But it is what it is. We're still top, and hopefully these 2 guys drop 2 points each, and it's status quo then, isn't it? It's only the fact that annoying Chelsea have come up as well, haven't they? They won 3-0, but arguably it was against a very weak Wolves side. But let's hope this is a draw, and let's hope that we can then regain ourselves against our neighbours.
Yeah, what's your predictions for that, Neil? Arsenal, Tottenham. It's on the Sunday, innit? Yeah. John will be here for that.
Nice.
He's travelling over for that. He was asking me when we were watching it and all that. I was like, I haven't thought about it. I don't want to get nervous at this point. I want to take a week off, because I don't know about you, but my stomach's churning before games. It never has before in the past, by the way. Never has. I find this season, I don't know what it is, but it's like I can't eat. It's really weird. I can't eat. Like, I can't eat within an hour or 2 of it. It's really weird. I can't do it.
I think it's because we're in such a great... I think it's probably we're in the strongest position and probably the best equipped to win the Premiership. That's why, Jack. I think you know that. You know that. I know that you always get nervous and, you was worried. You use that word worried a lot in our group chat. But, I think
I'm
even
always
I think that deep down, this is probably the best and most well-equipped side we've got to make an assault on the Premiership. So I don't blame you for feeling that way. Because you're genuinely thinking there was that time in that period, wasn't it, for a couple of seasons where I wasn't even worried about the next game anymore or concerned because we were just so abject.
Yeah.
it almost, and now again, in the last couple of seasons, as much as criticism that even I level against Eyebrows, he has got me back into that mind of thinking that I'm really looking forward to the next game. I can't wait for it because I want those extra 3 points. I want to be further up the table, or I want to, enjoy that moment of success within that game in isolation. So I get it, Jack. I think that's why. But yeah, thoughts. It's so far ahead. I don't really want to think about it, but I never do a draw or a loss. So I think I might have done one draw in the history of this pod. It's a North London derby, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to say that we're going to concede our 6th. I will go 2-1. I'm going to play it a little bit safe because I think we'll be kind of licking our wounds from this 2 points dropped. I'll go 2-1. And I'd like to say Gyökeres because I'm hoping he's going to be back. 2-1 Gyökeres.
Yeah, fingers crossed, Neil. Fingers crossed. They are, James, they've had a pretty good start to the season, but very up and down performance-wise. But he does know how to set them up for big games, particularly big games away from home. I mean, you've seen him, against PSG in the Super Cup, set them up very well. City, they beat away from home. He's we played him with Brentford, but he's very good at setting the team up when they don't really have to have a lot of the ball, and they can transition on teams. He's very, very intelligent at doing that. So this is the type of game that will suit him down to the ground massively. There's no doubt about that. Where the onus is on him a little bit more to take the game to teams, a bit like Tottenham Man U at home, and when you've seen him play against a little bit lower level teams, that's where he struggles a lot. But I don't know what what's your thoughts and predictions and first goal scorer, James?
Yeah, so I actually think the same as Neil, and I was going to say the same as Neil. But I will swap Gyökeres out and I will go for the only player that I believe hasn't scored for us this season yet, which is Saliba. We know what that man's like. Well, you know what he's like when he's celebrating other people's goals. So I think he's going to score in the North London derby, and he's probably going to fly and turn him like a transformer, turn himself into a rocket or a firework, and then explode in the sky and come back down again. You know what that guy's like. He's absolutely insane. So yeah, I'm going to back Saliba. But then I know you always say first goal scorer, but I've got a feeling like Madueke or someone's going to come back and be on the bench as well. And I feel like he's going to score. It'll be, like when Torreira that season scored, and it was just like, oh yes, one of our new signings has already bashed them. This is great. I've got a feeling someone like a Madueke might come on and score here, score his first goal. If he doesn't score it against Tottenham, I can see Madueke maybe scoring against Chelsea. Just like when Havertz dunked on him after they just kept calling him every name under the sun. I just got a feeling like that. I know Madueke was obviously at Spurs as a boy. Before he then went to Holland. Yeah. It's something about it. I'm like, it feels like someone like him or something will come on, and then he'll, either it'll be 1-1 or something, and then he'll score the winner, and that'll just boost, that'll just boost him and boost us. But yeah, no, I'm gonna stick with me 2-1 and Saliba though. But yeah, I think you're spot on about what you said about them away in big games and everything, Jack. And I think Neil's right there that it probably won't be the prettiest, but who cares? Like I said earlier, we can be below them, they can be above us, we can be doing this, they can be doing it. All just goes completely out the window. It just all completely goes out the window. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it though, regardless. I'm looking for get this break over and fucking done with. Get everyone back. Give me all my notifications. He's fit. He's fine. He hasn't gone. This one, that one. Oh, we've pulled this player out and everything. And then give me. We've got so many photos up for sale on the website. Can I have some photos of these players on grass, please?
Yeah, I know.
I love watching the Hearts on Fire, Kai Havertz, Rocky IV. Lifting the logs in the snow videos and everything in the gym. Can I see him running with a football?
Yes. Give us a football.
Unfortunately, Kai Havertz doesn't do bench press during a game in the Premier League. It's all well and good. It's all well and good watching him doing bench. It's like, you're brilliant on the squat rack there, Havertz, but where's you? Can I see you kicking a ball, please?
Yeah, I know. And
You know
what
what I mean?
last thing we need is Arteta's pre-match press conference going, everyone still looks a little bit far away, and I'm going to throw something at you, Mikel.
Yeah.
I am. You better say. I don't want anyone at my go. Oh, you better say someone's back.
We're not being invited. We're not being invited to these conferences, Jack, because all these people let him talk.
Gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm not letting you talk in riddles to me, Mikel. I'm going to press you. What's he injured with? How long's he injured for? They're the questions I'm going to be asking him. Not all this. Yeah, no, I don't know when he's coming back. How's Wind the dog today? Well, no, hang on. Go back and ask him.
Yeah, what's the injury? How did it happen? Why do all these players keep coming off with no incident, Mikel? They just come off. Nothing happened. We can't find a video of it. Is something happening to them in the locker room? Are we getting baseball bats out and sort of whacking their shins or something? Why is this keep happening? Oh, yeah, he felt something. We're watching a video. I'm analysing it. What's he felt? He's moving far. So frustrating, isn't it? All right, good. I'll take you said 2-1, didn't you, James? We both said 2-1.
We both have, yeah.
Oof. Okay. All right. I'll go. I'll go 2-0. 2-0 Arsenal. I'll go 2-0 Arsenal. Timber. Yeah, fingers crossed. I do think that's going to be a very, very tough game. I mean, we've struggled against ranked teams, haven't we? So, it's a massive game, even more massive now. So, but it was always a massive game, but absolutely huge, yeah. And to come back to that after the international break, just hope our players get a little. It's all friendlies, isn't it? Is it qualifiers still? Isn't a lot of it friendlies? So can't you just rotate these players out?
I haven't got a clue. I don't
Zubimendi
care.
playing 90 twice. Rice will play 90 twice. Saka will play 90 twice. Gabriel will be flying across to flipping Venezuela or somewhere really far away in the middle of the night. If it's friendlies, I wish they could rotate these players out. They seem to do it with everyone else. Everyone else's teams. Rodri's sitting on the sunbeds for 2 weeks. Let's do it with everyone else's. But all of our players, I'm surprised Odegaard hasn't been called up. Been unbelievable. I mean, all right, boys. Well, fingers crossed. We come back to a massive week with Tottenham, Bayern, and then Chelsea. I mean, that's a massive week for sure. So I guess as fans we need a week off before that gets going, don't we, maybe? That's what it is. We're at Purely Arsenal FP on Twitter, at Purely Arsenal on YouTube as well. Pod should be up Sunday, probably after all the results there, but is what it is at this point, and got to look forward to the next one. Believe in the Arsenal. North London derby next. Come on, boys. Thank you, boys.